Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Sham Vishvat Varvaham Siddhavadvachaya Ashwadrishada Sheshanarasantas A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Jai Santrad srimadbhagavatam ki Jai All glories to the devotees, all glories to the devotees, all glories to the devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. So I think everyone will have to use some devices. There's no board. Does everybody have devices? Do you have a device? Zach? Maybe share with your mom. You have a device? Okay. It is, today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, titled The Fourth Creation, or Creation of the Fourth Letter, Chapter 6, Brahma satisfied Lord Shiva, and we're on text 47. Today's Ekadashi, and a half-day fast. Half-day fast is for Lord Vamanadev, as he's known, the dwarf incarnation. Everything all right? What's wrong? The dwarf incarnation. That's how it's the dwarf. Transcendental dwarf. That's tomorrow, so we'll have a special Bhagavatam verse for tomorrow. Trividaprabhu is giving class tomorrow, so you could ask him what the verse is. And then Saturday is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance, which also is a half-day fast. We don't have a Bhagavatam verse. And then Sunday is Haridas Thakur's, I think, disappearance. So, got some nice festivals to celebrate. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Alright, so is everybody ready? Pritagdiya karma drisho dirashaya Paradayinarpita hridrujo nisham Parandurukter vitu danyaruntu das Tanmavadi dhaiva vidanba vidvidaha Pritagdiya karma drisho dirashaya Parodayinarpita hridrujo nisham Parandurakter vitu danyarundutas Tanmavadi dhaiva vidanba bhavadya viddaha Pritagdiya karma drisho dirashaya Parodayinarpita hridrujo nisham Parandurakter vitu danyarundutas Tanmavadi dhaiva vidanba viddaha Like to chat? Parodayinarpita hridrujo nisham Parandurakter vitu danyarundutas Tanmavadi dhaiva vidanba viddaha Pritak, differently. Diyaha, those who are thinking. Karma, fruit of activities. Drishaha, observer. Darashayaha, mean-minded. Para udayena, by others' flourishing condition. Arpita, given up. Hrit, heart. Rujaha, anger. And Yisham, always. Paran, others. Duruktai, harsh words. Vitudanti, gives pain. Aruntu daha, by piercing words. Tan, unto them. Ma, not. Avidit, kill. Daiva, by providence. Vadan, already killed. Bhavat, you. Vidaha, like. Translation. Persons who observe everything with differentiation, who are simply attached to fruitive activities, who are mean-minded, who are always pained to see the flourishing condition of others, and who thus give distress to them by uttering harsh and piercing words, have already been killed by providence. Thus there is no need for them to be killed again by an exalted personality like you. Purport. Persons who are materialistic and always engage in fruitive activities for material profit cannot endure seeing the flourishing life of others. Except for a few persons in Krishna consciousness, the entire world is full of such envious persons who are perpetually full of anxieties because they are attached to the material body and are without self-realization. Since their hearts are always filled with anxiety, it is understood that they have already been killed by Providence. Thus Lord Shiva, as a self-realized Vaishnava, was advised not to kill Daksha. A Vaishnava is described as Padadukha Dukhi, because although he is never distressed in any condition of life, he is distressed to see others in a distressed condition. Vaishnavas therefore should not try to kill by any action of the body or mind, but should try to revive the Krishna consciousness of others out of compassion for them. The Krishna conscious movement has been started to deliver the envious persons of the world from the clutches of Maya, and even though devotees are sometimes put into trouble, they push on the Krishna consciousness movement in all tolerance. Lord Chaitanya advises, Trinadapi sunichena torodapi sahishnuna amanina amanidena kirtaniya sadaharihi. One can chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Shikshashtaka 3. Hare Krishna. A Vaishnava should follow the examples of such Vaishnavas as Haridas Thakur, Nityananda Prabhu, and also Lord Jesus Christ. There is no need to kill anyone who has already been killed, but it should be noted herewith that a Vaishnava should not tolerate the blaspheming of Vishnu or Vaishnavas, although he should tolerate personal insults to himself. Om Ekana Devadandasya Granjana Shalakaya Chukshuhamritanina Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha Kam Karitava Chalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yakripa Damaham Bande Shri Gurun Diditaranam Vancha Kapade Bishcha Kripasin Bevicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavi Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hey, Hare Bol Navi. So there is the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, which we're all familiar with, and then there's the practice of the philosophy. So there's many philosophers out there and many philosophies out there, and some people, they try to practice, what they're philosophizing about. But the idea of having an example in which we can follow, in other words, somebody following the philosophy who we could follow, is extremely important. And Prabhupada gives the example in the purport here of Jesus Christ, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, Srila Haridas Thakur. And we see that within their lives they exemplify they teach us how to be compassionate, how to be forgiving, and how to be successful in Krishna consciousness. So we should try to study these personalities, the life, the teachings. We should know about them and study them constantly. And in this way, we could be successful ourselves if we follow these personalities. So, in relation to Haridas Thakur, there is this book, Chaitanya Bhagavat, and it is one of the biographies of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there's a nice section about Haridas Thakur. So I'll just read some of that. So Haridas Thakur, he was born in a Muslim family, and traditionally, and even nowadays, sometimes, depending on what type of Muslim one is or one happens to be, if a Muslim's family member, becomes a Hindu, then that's a big problem. And it was such a big problem then that the king of the particular area and the time, he wanted to Haridas Thakur to give up, being a Hindu, give up chanting the holy name of Krishna, and join the Muslim group again. And if he didn't, he was going to make sure that he was executed, killed, for not giving up. So that's what's going on here in this chapter 16 of the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. So then the king's encouraging Haridas Thakur, give up this nonsense, Hindu practices. Join us again. And all your sinful activities of being a Hindu can be, what did he say? All your sinful activities of, what you've done, you've joined a Hindu group, this can all be neutralized if you just utter kalma. So that, in the purport, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says that kalma, an Arabic word, refers to a passage from the Quran indicating the acceptance of Muhammad's Islam religion. So you say kalma, okay, I accept. In other words, I'm giving my Hindu practices. Some of these people were so severe. These rulers were so severe in India. What they would do is that they would force Brahmins, to try to become, force them to try to be Muslims. And how they would how they would confirm that they were Muslims? You know how? How would they? So what about the thread? Yeah, but the king would send people around to convert to the Brahmins. So do you know how they would convert them? By force? I'm not sure what you're referring to, Agabad. Yeah, they make them. You have to take off your Brahmin thread, give them the Brahmin thread, and the confirmation that you were a Muslim now is that they make you eat beef, they make you eat cows, and then you're a Muslim, and they converted you. So you could imagine that difficulty, that Brahmins, because Brahman means your mode of goodness, you're worshiping Vishnu, you're worshiping Krishna, right? And then you don't even get close to even think about eating meat, especially cow. So that's what they would do. So it's quite a severe practice. Or they would kill you. So you give them the Brahmin thread, you eat beef, or they kill you. So, and apparently there was, anyways, so here, this is what's happening. There's a similar king. He had a similar mood, that he was either Haridas Thakur, you give up your nonsense practices of Hindu religion, or we're going to execute you. So this is what Thakur Haridas replied. Kanda kanda hoy deha yaya yadi pran tuba ami vadane na chadi harinam. Even if my body is cut into pieces and I give up my life, I will never give up chanting the Lord's holy name. So I'll just read some. After hearing Haridas's statement, the king asked the Qazi, Now what will you do with him? The Qazi replied, he should be beaten in the 22 marketplaces. Take his life in this way. That is my opinion. If he survives being beaten in 22 marketplaces, then we'll understand that he's actually knowledgeable and his words are true. The Qazi then called the guards and sternly ordered them, beat him in such a way that he will die. And the Haridas Thakur was there hearing all that. If a Muslim who follows the Hindu religion is killed, then he'll be delivered from that sin. Instigated by the words of the sinful Kazi, the sinful king gave his order and the miscreant guards arrested Haridas. The miscreant guards thereafter took Haridas from market to market and mercilessly beat him. So this is in public. This is in a town. They take him to different markets. Haridas simply remembered the name of Krishna, and on account of that ecstatic remembrance, he felt no pain. The pious people were greatly distressed to see the excessive beating of Haridas. Someone said, "The entire kingdom will be destroyed because they're torturing such a saintly person." Someone angrily cursed the king and the Kazi, and someone else was prepared to fight them. Another person fell at the feet of the Muslims and said, "I'll give you some money if you don't beat him so hard." Nevertheless, the sinful guards showed no mercy, and they continued angrily beating Haridas from market to market. By the mercy of Krishna, Haridas felt no pain whatsoever in spite of such heavy beating. So this word angrily, so it wasn't just like beating, but it was angrily beating. That's a big difference. Because when you're angry, you bring out way much more force. The scriptures explain that Prahlad felt no pain when he was mercilessly beaten by the demons. In the same way, Haridas felt no pain as he was mercilessly beaten by the Muslims. What to speak of Haridas himself, even one who remembers his activities is immediately relieved of all material miseries. Rather, Haridas felt sorry for the sinful guards who were engaged in beating him and prayed. So we'll see what he prayed. O Krishna, be merciful on these living entities. Forgive their offense of torturing me. So this sounds familiar for those who know about the Christian background. Prabhu mentions Lord Jesus Christ, right? He's being crucified on the cross, and then he calls out to God. He says, "Please forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. In other words, they're fools. Please forgive them. Forgive their offense of torturing me." And interesting, in the purport, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says this. He says, "For the benefit of the deliverance of those sinful offenders who defy the Bhagavat Vaishnavas, the saintly persons consider them candidates for their mercy and feel concerned within their hearts. Such characteristics are also seen in the lives of Jesus Christ, Prophet Muhammad." This is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said. In this way, the sinful guards beat Haridas Thakur in various marketplaces. They beat him severely in order to kill him, but Haridas was not even disturbed by their beating. The Muslims were astonished to see this, and they thought, "Can a human being survive after such a beating? If we beat someone in 2 or 3 marketplaces, they die. But we've beaten him in 22 marketplaces." They all thought, "He has not died, and moreover we see that he is smiling. Is he a powerful saint?" The Muslims had said, "O Haridas, we'll be killed because of you. Although we've beaten you so much, you're still alive, therefore the Qazi will kill us." Haridas smiled and said, if my remaining alive creates a problem for you, then I'll give up my body right now." After saying this, Haridas entered into deep meditation on Krishna. Haridas, who was endowed with all mystic powers, then became motionless, and his breathing stopped. Seeing this, the Muslims were struck with wonder, and they took the lifeless body of Haridas before the king. The king ordered them, "Bury him," but the Qazi countered, "Then he will achieve a higher destination." And then in the purport, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, "It is the religious belief of the Muslims that if one buries a dead body, then the owner of the body attains a superior destination. Therefore, if the dead-like body of Haridas Thakur is thrown into the Ganga rather than buried, it will be a proper punishment for his sinful activities of accepting Hindu religion and chanting the names of the Hindu's God, and he will suffer miseries forever." So they didn't want him to bury him. He was already born in a good Muslim family, but he engaged in degraded Hindu practices. Therefore, he does not deserve a higher destination. If we bury him, he will certainly attain a better destination in his next life. Better throw him in the Ganges, so that he'll suffer forever. Following the Qazi's instructions, the guards took Haridas's body to throw in the Ganges. As the Muslims were about to throw his body in the Ganges, Haridas sat there immovable. As Haridas sat there in ecstatic meditation, Lord Vishwambar entered his body, Lord Chaitanya. Who had the power to move Haridas's body when it had become the abode of Lord Vishwambar? As the strongest Muslims tried to push Haridas, they found he was immovable as a stone pillar. Haridas remained absorbed in the nectarian ocean of love for Krishna and had no external feelings. He did not even know whether he was in the sky, on the land, or in the waters of the Ganges. Haridas had the same ability as Prahlad Maharaj to remain fixed in remembrance of the Supreme Lord Krishna. This is not all astonishing for Haridas, for Lord Gaur Chandra constantly resides in his heart. Even if I experience unlimited misery and die, I will never give up chanting the Lord's holy name. Otherwise, since Haridas was personally protected by Govinda, how could anyone harm him? What to speak of Haridas himself? Even one who remembers his activities is immediately relieved of all material miseries. I just said that a few verses ago. It means it's important. Haridas, who had the power to control the universe, was certainly one of the topmost devotees of Sri Chaitanya. After Haridas floated in the Ganges for some time, he regained his external consciousness by the will of the Lord. He then came to the shore and got out of the water in great ecstasy. So he's floating there and then he got out of the water in great ecstasy. In this way, he started for Pulia while loudly chanting the names of Krishna. Seeing the extraordinary potency of Haridas, the Muslims' minds changed and they forgot their envy. The Muslims considered Haridas a powerful saint, so they offered him obeisances. Thus they were all delivered from material bondage. Sometime after regaining his consciousness, Haridas met the king of Bengal and laughed mercifully. With great awe and reverence, the king folded his hands and humbly said to Haridas, "Now I know for certain that you are a powerful saint, for you are firmly convinced that the Supreme Lord is one. All the so-called yogis and gyanis simply speak big words, but you have actually attained perfection. Oh, sir, I have personally come to meet you, therefore please forgive all my offenses. You are equal to everyone, both friend and enemy, but there is no one in the three worlds who can understand you. You are free to go wherever you wish. You may go stay in a cave on the bank of the Ganges or wherever you desire. Now you may stay wherever you like and do whatever you please. What to speak of the upper classes? On seeing the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur, even the Muslims forgot themselves." And it says here, the Muslims are generally devoid of devotional service to the Supreme Lord. If sense enjoys fruitive workers and mental speculators, who are all relatively superior to Muslims, realize the magnanimous, glorious lotus feet of Mahabhagavat Thakur Haridas, then they will permanently retire from engagement in their respective sense gratification. On seeing Haridas, even Muslims who were sinful and extremely averse to the Lord forgot their endeavors to oppose devotional service, which were induced by the urges of their senses. Next text. They had angrily taken him to be killed, but they ultimately accepted him as a powerful saint. After glancing mercifully on the Muslims, Thakur Haridas entered Pulia. As he loudly chanted the names of Hari, he arrived before an assembly of Brahmins. Seeing Haridas, the Brahmins were filled with happiness. The Brahmins then began to chant the names of Hari, and Haridas began to dance in ecstasy. It's a few more verses. Haridas displayed endless ecstatic transformations like crying, shivering, laughing, falling unconscious, hair standing on end, and roaring. Then, in ecstatic love, Haridas crashed to the ground. Seeing this, the Brahmins began to float in ecstasy. After a while, when Haridas became pacified, the Brahmins sat around him. Haridas then said, "O Brahmins, please listen, don't feel sorry for me. I have heard so much blasphemy of the Lord. That is why he has punished me. I am satisfied, for whatever happened to me was for my benefit. The Lord has relieved me of my great offense by awarding me a token punishment." So he's saying that I was beaten because of my offenses. That's how Haridas Thakur was seeing it. One who hears blasphemy of the Lord Vishnu is sent to the hell known as Kumbhipaka. And with my sinful ears I heard so much blasphemy of the Lord. Therefore the Lord has given me an appropriate punishment so that I may not commit such sins in the future. So that's the thing, that's the law of karma. We suffer, and because we don't want to suffer, therefore it's a way to teach us, that you do this and you're going to suffer. Whatever it is, you do this particular activity, that particular activity, and you'll suffer. So over time, we realize that, okay, well, I better stop doing this because I'm just suffering from this. Thereafter, Haridas and the Brahmins fearlessly enjoyed congregationally chanting the holy names of the Lord. The Yavanas who had beaten Haridas, as well as their families, were all destroyed within a few days. Yeah. Yavanas are generally known as like meat eaters, isn't it? Yavanas. The sinful atheist Yavanas, this is purport, soon achieved the miserable results obtained by the persons who torture and envy Vaishnavas. In the Skanda Purana it is stated, Hanti nindanti vaidveshti Vaishnavan nabhinandati kruyate yati narharsham darshane pratinani shat. So this is a warning to everybody, to all of us. Whoever kills, that's pretty severe offense, right? Kills a Vaishnava. Whoever kills or blasphemes a Vaishnava, whoever is envious or angry with a Vaishnava, and whoever does not offer obeisances or feel joy upon seeing a Vaishnava, certainly falls into a hellish condition. According to this infallible scriptural decree, the Yavanas, along with their families, were soon destroyed by severe diseases like cholera or smallpox. So they all died. Cholera. Okay. Then Haridas went and found a cave on the bank of the Ganges. He remembered Krishna day and night as he resided alone in the cave. And then it goes on. It said that there's a snake and it's producing all this poison and this and that. And devotees were telling him to move out of the cave, and then the snake moved out. So this is Haridas Thakur, the example of Haridas Thakur, Srila Haridas Thakur. And we are meant to, of course, to follow the example of Haridas Thakur in whatever small way we can. We can't imitate Haridas Thakur. She would probably make that point many times. Don't, sit down and imitate Haridas Thakur. But the point is, there's so many wonderful examples that we could learn from in Scripture. And although it may be a struggle, a challenge, to, even in a small way, follow these personalities, it is a glorious endeavor to try to do that. And all along, trying to free people, trying to help people become Krishna conscious. So that's what we're about. Trying to ourselves be Krishna conscious, and then trying to spread Krishna consciousness as far as we can, somehow or other. So does anyone have any questions or comments? Yes?
Regarding offenses against standing persons, I had a discussion with Bob some time back, and he was saying that on multiple occasions in his life, he noticed that when someone has screwed him over, that he tried to deal with some shady people, or either comes from a background or, But anyway, he's noticed that when people do them dirty in life, that he continually notices that something really bad happens to them a short time later.
Oh, yeah.
And then my friend in Sedona, who's not a devotee, but I highly suspect he's had some experience with devotional service in previous lives. And there's a lot of evidence to lead me to believe that. But he's not a devotee, and he's not aware of this scientific principle of reality. But he even told me that he's noticed throughout his life that when people have done him dirty, that something bad happens to him a short time later. And he can even perceive this principle. He's not even, although I suspect in previous life, he's actually
I mean, you could say that even these, like the two people you mentioned, I mean, from an objective point of view, these personalities are, probably not some, Paramahamsa type personalities. Bob, he's a sincere, Vaishnav and all that, but, to accept Bob like on the topmost platform of devotional service, most people, it's a very high standard. But for people doing him wrong and then suffering for it, interesting point.
Well, I think in the case of Bob and my other friend what it depends on is...
I think we need that mic. Do you have a... Want to give him a mic? Give him a mic.
Bob, he has problems with conversation or whatever, he doesn't hide it. But he has an extremely innocent attitude toward others, and a non-aggressive, non-arrogant attitude, and a very humble service attitude. The same with my friend Simeon in Sedona, who told me that he noticed that bad things happen to people when they mess with him, is he just has one of the most amazing service attitudes I've ever seen in my life. Like, he's not even a devotee, and I wish I had his service attitude, to be honest. So I think that's the thing, Bob may take intoxication, but he's got a very innocent attitude, and he has a very innocent mood in life toward others. But then you might have some devotee who might follow the four regs perfectly, but he's just very arrogant and thinks he's the bomb diggity and thinks everybody else is, nothing. And so he has a very non-innocent attitude.
Was that a Sanskrit term you used?
And so Krishna is going to be much less, even in one sense you could say Krishna would be much less pleased with him, even though he's following the externals of sadhana bhakti much more carefully. But because he has a non-innocent attitude, then anyway.
Yeah, but Prabhupada said about his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, people, they would criticize him, because he used the chopping technique, he was very strong in his preaching. He said, everyone who criticized him, they all fell down, they all had difficulties. So, I would say even it's very, 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 very complex, complicated, intricate, system, what's going on, in reality. So, therefore, we have to be very, very careful, because Ryan's mentioning, certain devotees that, they may not be externally on some high, very platform, maybe not even able to follow some regulative principles, but they have a humble service attitude, and therefore Krishna, takes pleasure in their service and all that. Whereas another person may be super proud and, following everything, but Krishna's not taking much pleasure there. So what I'm saying is it's very challenging, it's very difficult to actually know, how Krishna sees particular individuals. So what I'm saying is based on that, a devotee may do something wrong, or may have done something wrong, just sinful, or the Bhagavad Gita says, most abominable activity. But it's really difficult to know that okay, now is this person actually sincere? Did they do whatever they did, God knows what, and then they continued in their devotional life, and are they sincere? Or are they not? It's very difficult to know. So in other words, what I'm saying is that even if someone has done something wrong, to get absorbed in thinking about that and criticizing that or whatever it is, that's very dangerous. Because one is that maybe they did it, and everybody knows they did it, but maybe now they're sincere. It's the possibility, Krishna is very merciful. You get so many chances, right? Maybe they're sincere. But if we're, kind of, what is it called? What's that saying? What is it? Beat the dog and what is it? No, beat the dog, give him a bad name, or beat the dog, give him a bad name, something like that. Kill the dog, whatever. But so it's very challenging, It's very challenging to actually know. And another thing is that maybe in particular circumstances, a person didn't even do anything, but for whatever reason, people think he did, you know. So it's also, so in other words, someone may be thinking, oh, this person's such a sinful demon, this is what they've done, but maybe they didn't do that at all. So they have to be very careful, you know, very dangerous. Whether they done it or they didn't do it, to get too critical over, you know, Vaishnavas, it's you know, we're advised not to do that. So does anyone have any other, Zach?
Question which is totally unrelated, but I was thinking this morning, because I was seeing in this picture, Krishna has tilak on, but why does Krishna have tilak on? Because it's representing his own footprint in the tulsi leaf.
So, why does Krishna have tilak on? It's unrelated, huh?
Yeah, it's totally unrelated question, but I was just thinking about it. Yeah.
Well, does, I mean, one thing is, I mean, in the spiritual world, Krishna kind of forgets he's God, right? Doesn't he?
Yeah. Still, why would he put his own footprint on his face?
Well, what if he forgot? If he doesn't think he's God, then... I mean, they say that... I did hear this from devotees who are, you know, they weren't speculating the Shastric references, but they said that it represents, you know, Brahma, one line, Shiva, and in the middle is Vishnu, you know, and this is the tulsi leaf. So, I mean, if he's not going around thinking he's God, you know, if he's thinking, you know, like I think even Nanda Maharaj, they're like worshipping some Vishnu Murti or something. So, I mean, there's another thing is that devotees painting the pictures
might not be following Shastric.
Yeah, may not have. You know, of course, when Prabhupada was here, devotees would check with him, and you know, some devotees were speculating, and Prabhupada would point it out, oh, this isn't correct, and you shouldn't do like this. And this. But just like there's a picture on our altar here of Panchatattva, you know, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita, right here in the middle between Gaur and Nitai. So, if you look there, you'll see that generally it's understood, at least devotees I've talked to, that this picture here, there's a picture of Srivas Pandit, right, who was a householder, but he's got a nicely shaven head and he's wearing saffron cloth. Now, in this picture. Now, in some other pictures, like we used to have a picture on the altar in the kitchen. It had Panchatattva, and it wasn't like that. Radharani painted it under Prabhupada's guidance. So does Srivas, like here, Srivas in this picture, he's got he has a shaved head, but he's wearing white. He's not wearing saffron. So anyways, sometimes the pictures are not always, but Krishna does wear some type of tilak, which I don't, you know, I mean, we could check on this and that, but as far as my memory serves me, that the traditional tilak he wears is not that, like we're wearing, but he is wearing a type of tilak, you know, whatever that may be. I mean, we have Giridhari, he's wearing the red, you know. I mean, in Vrindavan also, in the Radha Shamasundar, they're wearing, Shamasundar's wearing the tilak, you know, if you look at the pictures, just like us. So you could tune in to, you could write Bhakti Vikas Swami a email and say, oh Maharaj, why is, you know, a lot of the deities are wearing the tilak like we are wearing. Why is that? Because he has this whole question, and devotees ask him all different types of questions. So he might respond to you. Yes, you could add something. Lapadi, if you want to add something, whoever wants to add something.
Yeah, that's my understanding. Is there's billions and whatever trillions of different types of tilak, number one. So I don't think Krishna just wears one type of tilak for all of eternity. I think he's constantly being decorated by his devotees with different styles of tilak, would be my understanding, at least. And then another thing, too, is, like you mentioned, there's not just one interpretation of what the lines mean on the version of tilak that we currently use. There could be it's not that the only meaning is the two lines mean the 2 feet of Krishna. There's lots of different meanings. And I think basically the ultimate purpose of tilak is to just indicate that you're part of the crew. You're part of God's crew, or you're part of the godly crew, and Krishna wants to be part of the crew too. You know, so he just wants to be part of the crew, so he puts on tilak like everybody else, because he wants to be part of the crew. And then, like I said, there's different tilaks at different times. I'm sure devotees in the spiritual world put on different tilaks at different times too. I'm sure there's not just one type of tilak that we wear for all of eternity, and so yeah.
Yeah, there's like because there's. It said, you know, that when they're at Govardhan, they have all these earth pigments and all these different from the Govardhan Hill, and they decorate their faces with them. And, you know, flowers and paint, all that type of stuff. So, but I'm sure there's also some. If we talk with Javita Prabhu, I'm sure he has some, you know, Rupa Goswami verses or this verses or that verses, which explains Krishna's tilak. Like apparently there was a tilak that's made from like boiled cow urine or something like that, and just boil it and it becomes like a paste. Yeah, and then you put it on, you know, so it's supposed to be really nice.
Also, Hari Bhakti Vilas probably has a lot of technical details on the tilak.
Yeah. Did you have something you want to add or no? All right, Jai, Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.